Welcome, gentle listener, to Driftwood Stories, where ancient stars still whisper and the first winds of time carry us softly into the quiet of old worlds. Tonight we journey far back, long before the crackle of firewood, before the glow of hearthlight, before warmth had a name. This is a tale from the edge of time, of a world wrapped in cold starlight and a single spark, hidden, stolen, given with love. This is the story of Prometheus, the Titan who saw what others would not, and gave what none dared to give. So close your eyes and let the hush of the early world surround you. A time of silence, a time of stars, a time just before the warmth. Chapter 1. A world without fire. The earth was still young. The sky stretched endlessly, dark and deep as forgotten waters. No sun yet danced at dawn, only the moon's pale hush, and stars scattered like cold embers across the night. Mortals had been shaped from the clay of Gaia, given breath by mystery. They lived simply, not rulers, not warriors, but quiet children of the soil. They wandered forests with bare feet, drank from rivers with cupped hands, and wrapped themselves in bark and fur when winter sighed across the hills. But they were cold. The world was beautiful. Oh, yes. Mountains gleamed with frost. Lakes mirrored the heavens. Trees whispered secrets in ancient winds. Yet there was no fire, no warmth for food, no glow for stories, no light to gather round. Nights were long and biting. Storms rolled in with no shelter. They huddled together beneath hollow logs, hands clasped, breath forming clouds they could not understand. And above it all, high upon the distant slopes of Olympus, the gods watched, remote, unbothered, golden in their hidden halls. Fire burned in their hearths. Light danced on their feasts, but none was shared with the earth below. In the valley shadows, one mortal child reached toward the stars and whispered, "Why is the sky warm when we are so cold?" And far beyond that village, unseen and silent, Prometheus heard. He stood on a hill of stone, cloaked in mist, eyes reflecting the starlight. A Titan, older than time, born of the earth and sky, sibling to those who once ruled the world. But Prometheus did not desire a throne. He desired hope. And in the cold breath of that darkened world he felt a stirring, not of power, but of pity, and something deeper still, love. Chapter 2. Prometheus watches. He walked without sound as the first snow fell across the shoulders of the earth. The wind passed through him like memory. Prometheus, the quiet Titan, moved through forests and valleys unseen by mortals, yet ever near. He watched them, the humans, with eyes not of judgment but of wonder. How fragile they were, how brief, yet how fiercely they clung to life. He saw a mother wrap her child in woven grasses and press her cheek to his brow, humming a song that no god had taught her. He saw a boy carve shapes into bark with a bone, creating stories with no audience but the trees. He saw an old man, breath slow with cold, offering his last berries to a bird who could not fly. Prometheus knelt beside their fires of stone and ash, fires that gave no heat, only hope. He reached toward one once, and the cold of it ached in his bones. They were not like the gods. They did not feast or fly or summon storms, but something in them, quiet, flickering, called to him. Perhaps it was their yearning. Perhaps it was the way they dreamed while sleeping on bare earth. Perhaps it was because they, like him, did not belong fully to the heavens. Long ago, Prometheus had walked with his Titan kin, proud, tall, and distant. He had watched the old order rise and fall. He had seen Cronus take the sky and Zeus unseat him. The world changed hands, but still the mortals shivered. Still they waited for warmth that never came, and so Prometheus, the watcher, the wanderer, sat upon a crag above the sea and gazed into the void between stars. Not angry, not afraid, but wondering, if the gods will not give them fire, perhaps I must. Chapter 3, The Flame of the Gods. High above the earth, where no mortal foot had stepped, stood the shining realm of the gods, Olympus, veiled in cloud and crowned with lightning. Here fire lived, not the small sparks of flint or the soft warmth of sun on skin, but true fire, eternal, sacred. It had danced in great bronze bowls, fed by breathless winds and the songs of divine hearth-tenders. It was light that shimmered without smoke, heat that never faded, a flame drawn from the first stars. The gods gathered round it, their robes catching its golden glow. They sang and feasted, told stories older than the sea. Fire, to them, was not a gift. It was their right, a symbol of power, of separation, and it was forbidden. No mortal was to touch it, no Titan to share it. For with fire came craft, and with craft came thought, and with thought came challenge. Zeus, new king of gods and keeper of order, had spoken it himself. Let the mortals know cold. Let them be grateful for stone and shadow. We are light, they are dusk. But Prometheus stood at the edge of that realm, unseen among the misted peaks, and looked into the sacred flame. It flickered, golden and pure, and in its glow he did not see pride or punishment. He saw hope. He remembered the girl who whispered to the stars, the boy drawing dreams into tree bark, the old man who gave his last comfort to a bird. They did not need fire to conquer, they needed it to survive. So, as the gods drank and laughed, Prometheus stepped forward, silent, deliberate. He reached for a reed, hollow and dry, and dipped it into the sacred flame. It caught, a flicker, a curl of gold, a single breath of warmth stolen from the mountain of eternity. And without a word, the Titan turned and began the long walk down. Chapter 4, The Quiet Theft. Prometheus moved through the clouds like a shadow of thought, not fast, not hidden, but certain. The sacred flame, cradled within the hollow stalk of fennel, glowed like a heartbeat in his hands. Each step he took away from Olympus was a step toward warmth. Below him the world slept in darkness. Mortals curled beneath trees, beside riverbanks, in the hollows of hills. Bodies entwined not just for closeness, but survival. Dreams flickered behind closed eyes, yet none dreamed of fire. Not yet. The wind whispered to him. The stars blinked in knowing silence. Even Gaia stirred, deep within the earth, aware of what now passed through the skies. a titan with fire in his grasp, carrying a promise the world had never known. He paused upon a cliff where the forest began, the flame in his hand no larger than a flower's breath. He watched as a mortal family huddled near a pile of wet twigs, shivering beneath animal hides. The cold clawed at them like unseen beasts. Prometheus knelt beside them. His eyes, ancient and gentle, flicked toward the child who clung to her mother's hair in sleep. Without a word he reached forward. He touched the driest branch with the flame. It sputtered, then flared, orange, red, gold. The fire licked upward, warm and crackling, a song that had never been sung before. The child stirred. Her eyes opened. She saw the dancing light, and though she did not yet have the word, she smiled. Prometheus stood and stepped back into the night, watching. All across the land he walked, lighting small fires, one by one. He left them at doorways, by river stones, in the crooks of trees where hunters would find them. He said nothing. He only gave, and above, on Olympus, the gods slept, unaware that their sacred flame now lived in the hands of those who had once known only cold. Chapter 5. The First Hearth. At first it was only warmth. The fire did not roar. It did not threaten. It welcomed. A single flame, small as a whisper, curled around a twig and spread its glow like golden silk across sleeping faces. The mortals blinked in wonder. They reached out, not in fear but in awe. One touched it and gasped at the heat, then laughed. Another fed it gently with dry bark, and it grew. The fire flickered, crackled, stretched. It breathed with them. They gathered close. Fur and frost gave way to glowing skin and soft eyes. Cold bones thawed. Lips uncurled from silence. For the first time, they spoke not in need but in wonder. Then they sang, a low hum at first, like the wind through hollow logs. Then a tapping rhythm on stone. Then voices, weaving together stories of stars, of beasts, of dreams. The fire lit their faces, and in its light they created. Someone shaped clay into bowls. Another sharpened a branch into a tool. A child held a stick to the flame and traced spirals in the dirt. Fire did not just warm their bodies. It awakened their minds, and Prometheus from a high ledge watched. He saw not power, but joy. He saw not conquest, but connection. Fathers placed their hands over their children's by the fire and taught them how to feed it. Mothers stirred roots into water and cooked food that no longer had to be eaten raw. The hearth became a gathering place, not only for warmth, but for belonging. And in every flicker of flame, Prometheus saw the future, glowing quietly in the hands of those once forgotten. Below Olympus, the earth now glowed like the stars above. Chapter 6. The sky grows cold. Far above the flickering hearths, where firelight did not yet reach, the skies began to stir. Zeus, lord of Olympus, ruler of thunder and law, stood at the edge of the clouds, gazing down upon the world. His eyes, sharp as winter lightning, narrowed. Where once the valleys had been veiled in frost and silence, now there was light. Tiny pinpricks of flame dotted the forests and hills, sparks where none should be. Songs echoed up through the wind. The scent of roasted root and smoke climbed toward the heavens. The gods gathered around him, murmuring, "Who gave them fire? Who broke the law? Who dares defy Olympus?" And from the silence came one name, a name spoken with both reverence and suspicion: Prometheus. He, the Titan who had not joined the rebellion or bowed before the throne. The wanderer, the thinker, the one who walked not with kings, but with kindling. Zeus's jaw clenched. He had feared this. Not that Prometheus would strike with storm or blade, but with something far more dangerous, a gift. A gift that would lift the mortals from their knees. A gift that would teach them to shape, to build, to question. A gift that would warm their homes and ignite their minds. Fire, once held in Olympus alone, now danced in the hands of shepherds and children, and Zeus, proud, eternal Zeus, felt the tremble of change, so he raised his hand. Not in mercy, not in understanding, but in decree. A punishment would come, swift as lightning, long as stone. And far below, where flames curled gently in hollowed-out hearths, Prometheus stood still. Already knowing, Chapter 7 bound to the mountain, they came at dawn, not with words, but with wind, not with judgment, but with chains. Prometheus stood atop a quiet hill, the last star fading behind him, the scent of wood smoke drifting up from the villages below. He did not flee, he did not plead. When the messengers of Zeus arrived, shadows draped in divine bronze, he met them with a gaze soft and steady. "I knew," he whispered, "and I do not regret." They bound him in silence, not with rope, but with adamantine, the unbreakable iron of the gods. With it they carried him to the highest peak in the world, a mountain so tall its summit kissed the cold breath of space. There they fixed him to the stone, arms stretched, body still. No fire touched this place, no song echoed here, only wind and the slow beat of time. Each day the eagle came. Vast, dark-winged, forged in wrath, it descended with a shriek, its claws sharp with punishment, and each day it tore at him, and each night his body healed, and each morning it began again. But Prometheus did not scream. His eyes, always open, watched the horizon, for from this place he could see the world below. And what he saw was not cruelty, but comfort. Fires still burned, mothers still sang, children still laughed. He saw mortals tending flame with care, with craft, with community. He saw clay ovens rising, new tools forming, shadow puppets dancing on cave walls by firelight, and though pain gnawed at his body, a quiet warmth lived in his heart. He had not given them a weapon, he had given them a beginning, and even bound, he remained free. Chapter 8. Sleep by firelight. Night falls again across the earth. But it is not as it once was. Not silent, not cold, not dark. Now the hills flicker with light, small hearths glow in stone huts. Flames dance in the centre of forest circles. Shadows move gently across the walls, not from fear, but from story. In one village, a grandmother sits beside a fire, tracing constellations in the air with her fingers. In another, a boy sings as he shapes clay beside glowing coals. A girl turns a twig in the flame, dreaming of what it might become. A tool, a flute, a tale. And above them all, wrapped in stillness, Prometheus watches. His body aches, but his heart is calm. The mountain is cold, but the world below is warm. He does not cry out. He does not call for help, for he is already answered in every spark, every whisper, every shared breath beside a glowing ember. In time, the myths will say that Zeus relented, that a healer would come, that the chains would break. But even before that, Prometheus had won, not through battle, not through pride, but through kindness, quiet and steady as flame. And now, dear listener, you too lie beside that fire. Feel its warmth on your skin. Let its glow soften your thoughts. You are safe. You are held. You are wrapped in the gentle light of something ancient and eternal. For even in the darkest times, someone once carried fire through the night. Just for you. Sleep now beneath stars that remember, and dream by firelight.